Roy Lucas is a homegrown Wisconsin talent that is taught in many Door County schools and Nature's Classroom. The Kewanee High School graduate has had over 2,500 articles published, and his images of Door County's habitat has provided an education for countless people.
I started in, I think, October of 1968. And I got the idea for these stories, and I went in to chat with Chan Harris one day, who was the editor of The Advocate in Sturgeon Bay. And I said, what do you think of me doing a weekly story for The Advocate on nature? He says, it's not a bad idea. Let's give it a try for a couple of weeks and see how it goes.
Roy's weekly stories have become a part of the Door County culture, but he did not establish his legacy alone. It was during the summer of 1971 that he developed his best story. Roy was living at the Ridges Lighthouse in Bailey's Harbor, working as a naturalist at the Ridges Sanctuary. Some days his work was educational in nature, some days the work was manual labor. On this day, a chance encounter with a young lady from Milwaukee on the trails blossomed into a relationship that has lasted for over 4 decades.
His job that day was building bridges. He was nailing decking on one of the far bridges. So he had his paint-stained jeans or pants on. He had his old army shirt that he had cut the sleeves off and the strings were hanging, and his hat that had paint stain. No, the knees were out on his jeans, but paint on his hat. That's how we met. Eventually, we got to be friends. And on New Year's, he invited me up for New Year's weekend. We watched the Rose Bowl parade, and he said, wouldn't it be great if you lived up here all year round? And I said, where, the Nelson Motel? That was the only motel open in the winter. He said, no, here at the Range Light. I said, yeah, but won't the neighbors talk? And that's when he asked me to marry him on New Year's Day, 1972.
The relationship bloomed into a great partnership in all aspects of their life. Charlotte helped Roy with his work with the Ridges Sanctuary, along with his writing, and Roy helped Charlotte with her mushroom research.
It took me a while to get in the groove, but I did help with Ridges stuff pretty much right away, with newsletters and things like that. And I realized, just being with Roy out in the Ridges all summer, that he knew just about everything. He knew trees, and he knew a lot about insects and flowers and birds and animals. And I finally found something that he wasn't quite as knowledgeable about, and that was the mushrooms. So I decided to use that as my key nature study.
Charlotte has identified over 600 types of different mushrooms in Door County for her nature study, while Roy provides the beautiful imagery. Over the years, the trips to find mushrooms have yielded just as many unique stories.
Anytime we're in the woods with them, someone's like, oh, Roy, hey, I have to ask you a question. It doesn't matter where we are, who we're with, somebody knows him anywhere, and he's so gracious and will always stop and explain and talk and make sure they know the correct terms or what they're asking about. And he's the teacher still. He'll always be the teacher. In fact, I call him Sensei. So, because he's my teacher, he's my life teacher.
Their marriage to each other, their work, and the environment is dedication at its finest. Roy, with the help of Charlotte, has written 5 nature-inspired books and published thousands of articles for Door County publications like the Peninsula Pulse.
Even before he was doing his stories on computer, when we had an IBM Selectric, and he would type up the stories and I would proofread them. And now with his stories with the Pulse that he writes on the computer, I do the proofreading, and then we work at choosing which photos are best to go with the story, and with the Door County Living magazine, the same thing. He writes it and I proofread it, and then we pick out the best pictures. And then I use Photoshop to adjust the pictures.
She's much better at technology than I am, but we make a lot of use of the computer. The number of images I've taken, thousands, I don't know. But we have them categorized by subject very nicely. Charlotte does a marvelous job of that, so we can find these images quite easily.
I can't imagine coming, being able to do that week after week and be so creative and so enlightening. It's just amazing. They're such a special couple.
It's just so fortunate that Roy had this wonderful talent of doing these weekly letters for the local newspapers, these nature notes, and our Charlotte has been such a help to him to get them sped through, get all the writing done and corrections, and she's just been so wonderful herself. I'm amazed with her background as a dental assistant, how she's locked on to nature and how she knows it so well. And they're just a great partnership, and they just have this wonderful affection for all facets of nature.
The couple has always shied away from the spotlight, but in the fall of 2014, their work was recognized on a grand level. The couple received a well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award from Wisconsin's Alliance for Land Trust.
We are just so grateful to be awarded for doing something that we love to do. And Roy flunked retirement, so he's going to continue writing. He's been writing weekly nature stories for Door County newspapers for 46 years. And it's just, when you study nature, you never stop learning. You're always exploring and discovering new things. So we're very thankful, and thank you all for coming out tonight.
I thought it was an overwhelming event, and the thing that impressed me was knowing that so many other people out there in the audience were doing just as Charlotte and I have been trying to do for so many years too. Just preserving the land and working hard to keep it in good shape and being good stewards and teaching others to do the same. And to preserve a lot of these areas takes a lot of effort and a lot of people. And we feel we're just a small part of it.